section. We're in the week of April 6th through the 10th. And right now we are going to pay a visit to a sculpture. Our last one we saw was from 19th century, so this is our first one that we're going to be studying. And the name of this one, it's a name that we've already seen. It's called The Kiss. This one is by Constantin Brancusi, 1907 to 1908. The material is made of limestone and it's measuring just under 2 feet. I got 23 inches, and this is in the Philadelphia Museum of Art. To classify this, this is right around when we're going to be starting to talk about Cubist style. So if you wanted to put like pre-Cubist, abstract, modern, those would be all acceptable terms to classify this under. So Constantin Brancusi is basically the next step in our study of sculpture. It needs to be considered in light of the most important 19th sculpture, Augustin Rodin. And if you remember, he's the one that did the Burgess of Calais. He's the one that broke all the academia rules, left human figures unfinished, unidealized, often used rough surfaces, was still firmly in the narrative tradition, whose figures still looked very naturalistic. So what we're looking at now is something that has probably gone off the deep end. So Constantin Brancusi, just to know a little bit about him real quick, born in Romania, where there was a long time tradition of stone and wood carving and peasant art, and he brings the simplicity of that tradition with him when he goes to Paris. There, he worked briefly in Rodin's studio, so he was a student of Rodin, but he left the redefined sculpture in the modern age. So he's definitely going towards like that Picasso, Baroque, Cezanne movement, where we're starting to see that Cubist, the geometric forms really kind of be the highlight at this particular time. So he turns his back on the academic tradition of sculpture, embraces this process of abstraction. Okay, that'd be another a good blah, if I can talk, another good word that we can classify this with. Working to simplify his subject down to its ultimate essence. Okay. Again, this is just made out of one piece of limestone and it's all intact together. Brancusi sought to move beyond surface appearances to capture the essence of spirit of the object depicted. Okay, so our theme for this is the kiss. Okay, it's supposed to be somewhat of an embrace of a man and a woman, and we can clearly see that. We see a man is probably the one that's on the left, and the woman is the one that's probably on the right. And our only indication is that maybe we see some part of a breast on this figure on the right, and then also the fact that her hair is going all the way down on the side of side of her. And then her eye is slightly a little bit smaller than this eye. And she's also a little bit thinner than this guy. Those are just kind of some clues that we can dictate at this time. So Constantin Brancusi, he wrote, "What is real is not the exterior, but the essence of things. So, starting from this truth, it is impossible for anyone to express anything essentially real, by imitating its exterior surface." So, what we're trying to say is Brancusi used the solid quality of the block of limestone to express lasting love through minimal cutting of the block. Brancusi symbolized rather than illustrated. Okay, so this is more of symbolism. Again, we're looking at abstract. The concept of two becoming one. He chose geometric abstraction rather than representational naturalism to express love. So we're not seeing that tradition of academia art or any kind of depiction that these are supposed to be real human figures at this time. Brancusi became immediately captivated by the primitive art on display in Paris. He admired the semi-abstracted form of which art beyond the Western tradition, believing that the artists who made such art succeeded in capturing the essence of their subject. So in Brancusi's essence, he's like Picasso. He rejected that superficial realism. So with the kiss, what's important to just kind of pay attention to, it's compact, it's rectangular masses joining two abstract figures, conveys the essence of unity. Okay, when you look at this, you can almost classify this as being one. Um, Maybe you have like one cyclotic eye, and you just have the breakage right in between. But if you look at it as a whole, you can kind of see that one concept, two becoming one. So the style in which Brancusi sculpts is acknowledged through the material he is using. It is a block of limestone. The surface has not been polished to look like skin, as marble was within the classical academic tradition, and the rough, loose grain of the stone is especially evident in the hair. Like Rodin, who didn't want Burgess of Calais placed directly on a pedestal in the academic tradition, Brancusi also didn't want his work to be placed um, on any type of pedestal. He wanted it directly on the floor. So that is all to kind of just comment for this one. Notice the type of material. We're not seeing the marble. We're not seeing any um, tradition as far as, again, like we're not seeing any type of marble being used. We don't see any polishing. Again, very abstract at this point. It's almost like we could probably sit and try and carve this ourselves. And it's all from one piece of limestone. All right, this one's short and sweet. Over and out, Miss Howard.